speaker will be Barbara Rahke. She's the director of Philip Hosh out of Philadelphia. Barbara?
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters, friends, members of the press, and everyone here who is here with us today to support the hardworking Verizon workers in their fight for a fair and just contract. I may be a little bit old school, but I've always thought that good employers were those that made a contract with their workers in order to receive the benefit of the hard work, the professionalism, and the skills they brought to the job. That's not just about a union contract, but that's about a contract with the workers who help build the company and make it successful. That's what you all have done over the years, and it appears as though, once again, Verizon is looking to break that contract with you in many, many different ways. Verizon wants to eliminate good jobs and to replace them with contract work, to expand contracting out of your jobs. Verizon wants to shift sharp increases in healthcare costs to you, the workers, through higher deductibles, co-pays, and premium costs. Verizon wants to slash retirement security and many other demands. And let me just say one thing about the contracted out jobs. Around the country, Philip Hosh, we're a nonprofit. By the way, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year, so we've been around for a while. And we've been tracking tendencies that are increasing health and safety risks for workers. And one of them is contracting out jobs, because they're shifting responsibility when they do that from training, from workers' comp insurance, and from even workers who are part of the team, as you all are, in terms of doing jobs. For instance, we're seeing trends where the largest number of workers getting killed on the job now nationally are in fact temporary workers or contract workers. And in fact, National OSHA is now looking at this sort of as an emergency situation. And we've been very involved in tracking this information. So it increased risks for the Verizon workers, and it increased risks for the contract workers that they're bringing in. So this road they're following is a dead-end road, with you basically as the victims of that. There's another issue which has been brought up by the previous speakers, and that is to expand the issue of health and safety. Now, we all know from comments that have already been made that the Verizon workforce, many of them do very hazardous and very dangerous jobs. And the results of that you all know only too well. I understand that in Montgomery County alone, there have been 2 on-the-job incidents involving injuries that required hospitalization, just in Montgomery County among Verizon workers. One was a technician who was hit by a car while working in Eagleville. Another experienced a flash burn when he drilled into live electric. Verizon workers are expected to work in extreme heat and extreme cold, and we know extreme heat can cause death as well. Certainly this summer we've seen it happen. You work in traffic, you work with live power. And I've been a lifelong Verizon customer since I moved to Philadelphia, and I once lived in a house where the Verizon workers who came in to fix a problem told me to run for my life. They were too, because of how my landlord had rigged the electrical system so badly in that system. And now they've been having Verizon workers work 7 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 7 hours a week, first because of a special emergency, but I understand that's been continued to help create a workload that gets new service orders taken care of. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but maybe in preparation for a work stoppage, if that should happen, maybe that's part of the reason they're now putting workers at risk with those kinds of workloads. So Verizon technicians are fatigued, and given the hazardous nature of many of their jobs, it's a formula just waiting for a serious incident, accident, and even death. And Philipposh knows about the callousness of Verizon to its own workers. Some of you here may have known Tom Hetrick. Tom began as a lineman, was a member of the union, and then promoted into a management job. On May 31st, 2008, Tom was killed on the job at 53 years of age. When I learned about the event today, I reached out to his widow, Rosalie, who lives in Norristown and just retired from her job as a music teacher at the Norristown High School. I asked if she would like to talk at today's event to share her story of just what kind of an employer Verizon really is. She sent me an email, and with her permission, she asked me to read it. These are Rosalie's words. Wow. I would certainly welcome the opportunity to be there at the press event on Friday, but I will be in North Carolina for my nephew's wedding. You know how I feel about Verizon and the lack of concern they showed for Tom. Excuse me, I want to get this right. And the people that were working with him that night. They broke up his work group. Several of the guys have suffered post-traumatic stress, totally unrecognized by Verizon. Now to hear that they are working long shifts with no relief in sight is very disheartening. My heart breaks because I know the incident that killed Tom could have been avoided. Tom was management, but his own management people threw him directly under the bus when it came time to play the blame game. I could never understand how you can blame the dead guy. Tom knew that the procedures being followed were not the best way to complete the job, but he was instructed to do it anyway. The spot where he met his death had been occupied by a worker who was expecting his first child. Tom made him move and took his place. While Tom was a manager, the crew knew where his roots were as a worker. He would not ask someone to do anything he would not do himself. Rosalie then wrote, "Please take his picture and humanize his life and senseless death. He was a person who is missed by many." That message is one that is so lost on big businesses like Verizon, that their employees are people with lives and families. There are now such holes in our lives, mine, our children Matt and Alyssa, as well as his brothers and sisters. No amount of money should be worth someone's life. Rosalie Hetrick has endured so much, yet she stands strongly with the workers at Verizon in their fight for a fair and just union contract. I stand with you. Philipposh stands with you. We are honored to join you in this fight. Solidarity for you and solidarity for Tom Hetrick.